The rising storm. The galaxy never saw humanity coming. While ancient empires measured their histories in millennia, Earth's children had barely taken their first steps among the stars. Most species viewed humans with mild curiosity, perhaps amusement. They saw primitive vessels held together with metal plates and fusion drives that sputtered like dying candles. They laughed at human diplomats who spoke of peace while their technology lagged centuries behind the galactic standard. The Confederation Assembly, a sprawling alliance of 47 species, barely acknowledged humanity's petition for membership. Ambassador Xilara of the Thrivian Dominion openly mocked the human delegation during a public session, declaring that Earth's children still played with chemical rockets, while real civilizations bent space itself to their will. Yet beneath this dismissal, something was stirring. The first sign came when the Krell Empire, known for their aggressive expansion policies, targeted the human colony of New Haven. The Krell had done this countless times before. Identify a weak system, send in their battle fleet, and either subjugate or destroy any resistance. Their Admiral Cathar viewed it as routine pest control. Admiral Cathar brought his flagship, the Bloodfang, along with 15 heavy cruisers to New Haven's orbital space. He transmitted his standard ultimatum: surrender within 1 hour or face complete annihilation. The human colony administrator responded with delaying tactics, asking for clarification, requesting more time to evacuate civilians. Cathar saw this as typical human weakness. What he didn't see was the ripple in space-time forming behind the system's second moon. At exactly 59 minutes into the countdown, a ship emerged from what should have been empty space. It didn't use any known form of faster-than-light travel. There was no flash of light, no energy signature, no warning. One moment there was nothing, and then it was simply there. The vessel was unlike anything in known space. Matte black, absorbing rather than reflecting starlight, it seemed to drink in the very fabric of reality around it. No visible weapons ports, no shield generators, no propulsion systems that any scanner could detect. Just smooth, unbroken hull that appeared to shift and flow like liquid shadow. Its name, when translated through a dozen languages, carried one meaning: Nemesis. Admiral Cathar ordered his fleet to scan the newcomer. Every attempt failed. Their most sophisticated sensors returned nothing but error messages or impossible readings. The ship registered as simultaneously present and absent, existing in multiple quantum states at once. Open fire, Cathar commanded, suppressing his growing unease. Show these primitives what real power looks like. 15 Krell cruisers unleashed their particle beams, each capable of cracking the small moon. The beams converged on the Nemesis and vanished, not deflected, not absorbed. Simply ceased to exist the moment they touched the ship's hull. The Nemesis responded with a single transmission: you were warned. What happened next defied every law of physics the Krell understood. The Bloodfang shields, rated to withstand sustained bombardment from a dozen capital ships, collapsed in microseconds. Its armor, forged from quantum-stabilized alloys, peeled away like paper in a hurricane. The mighty flagship, pride of the Krell Empire, began to fold in on itself with an almost elegant precision. Cathar watched in horror as his vessel compressed, twisted, and reformed into a perfect sphere no larger than an escape pod. Life support remained active, the only sign that this wasn't an act of murder, but a demonstration. The other Krell ships didn't wait for orders. They fled, broadcasting surrender codes on all frequencies, abandoning their admiral to his humiliating fate. News of the incident reached every corner of inhabited space within days. The footage, captured by New Haven's orbital sensors, showed the impossible made real. A ship that shouldn't exist, wielding technology that violated known physics, had reduced the Krell Empire's finest warship to a geometric sculpture. The galactic community's dismissive attitude toward humanity evaporated overnight. Intelligence agencies scrambled to gather information on the Nemesis. They found nothing concrete, only whispers of human research facilities in deep space, experiments with quantum entanglement, and theoretical physics that seemed more like magic than science. The Thrivian ambassador who had mocked humanity now found herself facing empty seats when she called for sanctions against Earth. Other species remembered their own dismissive comments and wondered what else the humans might have hidden behind their seemingly primitive facade. As panic spread through the Confederation Assembly, a new human ambassador arrived. Maria Rodriguez walked into the chamber with quiet confidence, neither gloating nor threatening. She simply placed a data crystal on the central podium. This contains the complete technical specifications of our obsolete defense platforms, she announced to stunned silence. The ones we decommissioned 3 years ago. The Nemesis represents our current capabilities, which I'm not authorized to discuss. She paused, letting the implication sink in. Humanity has always preferred peace. We still do, but we learned long ago that peace must be backed by the ability to enforce it. The Nemesis will patrol disputed territories, ensuring no species preys upon another. Any aggression will be met with proportional response. The chamber erupted in protests, demands, and barely concealed fear. Rodriguez waited for quiet before delivering her final words. We didn't come to the stars seeking conflict, but if conflict finds us, we will end it permanently. As she left the chamber, reports flooded in from across the galaxy. 3 more ships matching the Nemesis description had appeared in strategic locations. The Yalari merchant fleet reported one hovering near their main trade routes. The Zenith Collective detected another maintaining position at the edge of their home system. A third had taken up station near the Galactic core, where the oldest and most powerful civilizations resided. The message was clear. Humanity had arrived, and the galaxy would never be the same. Within weeks, border skirmishes that had raged for decades ceased. Pirates who had terrorized shipping lanes for generations disappeared. Even the most aggressive species began diplomatic overtures, seeking treaties with Earth. The humans, once dismissed as backward children playing at space travel, had revealed themselves as the galaxy's new apex predator. And they had done it not through conquest or destruction, but through a single demonstration of power so overwhelming that resistance became unthinkable. As Admiral Kithar would later testify before the Krell High Command, trapped within his spherical prison cell, we thought we understood power. We thought technology followed predictable paths. We were wrong. The humans didn't just surpass us, they transcended every limitation we thought existed. And the most terrifying part, they showed mercy. They could have erased us from existence, but they chose to teach us humility instead. The age of human dominion had begun, not with a roar, but with a whisper that echoed across the stars. Whispers in the void. Captain Sarah Mendoza stood on the bridge of the Nemesis, her reflection ghostly in the viewscreen that displayed the star-studded void beyond. Unlike traditional starship bridges bustling with crew, the Nemesis Command Center housed only 5 people. 5 minds linked directly to a ship that existed partially outside conventional spacetime. Status report, she commanded, though she already knew the answer through her neural link. Lieutenant Commander Jin Wei responded from his station, more out of habit than necessity. All systems nominal, Captain. Quantum field generators operating at 17% capacity. Probability matrices stable. 17%. That's all they'd needed to reshape Admiral Kithar's flagship. Mendoza often wondered what would happen if they pushed the systems to full power. The simulation suggested reality itself might unravel. The technology behind the Nemesis remained humanity's closest guarded secret. While the galaxy speculated about advanced weapons and shields, the truth was far more fundamental. Human scientists hadn't just built better technology. They'd rewritten the rules of physics. 20 years of secret research in the Oort cloud had led to the discovery of what physicists called quantum consciousness interface. Human brains, it turned out, could directly manipulate probability fields at the quantum level when properly augmented. The Nemesis didn't carry weapons in any traditional sense. Instead, it altered reality itself, making desired outcomes inevitable while rendering hostile actions impossible. This power came with a price. Of the hundreds of volunteers, only 37 had survived the augmentation process with their sanity intact. These few became the crews of humanity's 4 quantum ships, forever changed, forever connected to forces that defied conventional understanding. Captain, Communications Officer Yara Nkosi interrupted her thoughts. We're detecting unusual activity in Sector 7. The Yalari merchant fleet is converging on our position. Mendoza frowned. The Yalari were known for their neutrality and extensive trade networks. For them to approach a human vessel directly, they're broadcasting on all frequencies. Nkosi continued. They want to negotiate. The main screen shifted to show the approaching fleet. Dozens of cargo vessels, luxury liners, and mining ships. No warships, but the sheer number was impressive. Patch them through. A holographic image materialized. Merchant Prince Vexel, adorned in flowing robes that sparkled with embedded precious gems. The Yalari leader's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of extreme anxiety. Honored Captain of the Nemesis, Vexel began, his translator rendering melodious tones into English. We come in peace and friendship. State your purpose, Merchant Prince. We wish to establish exclusive trade agreements with Earth. We offer our entire network, our resources, our loyalty. In exchange, we ask only for your protection. Mendoza exchanged glances with her crew. This was unexpected. The Yalari had maintained their independence for millennia through careful neutrality. Why now? She asked bluntly. Vexel's feathers ruffled, another sign of distress. Because we see the truth, Captain. The galaxy is changing. Old powers crumble while new ones rise. We have studied human history. We know you value commerce and peaceful exchange. Better to ally with those who seek prosperity than to risk destruction from those who cannot adapt. He paused, gathering courage for his next words. And because we have heard whispers, the Confederation plans something desperate. They fear you too much to remain passive. This caught Mendoza's attention. What have you heard? A gathering of war fleets, secret meetings, talk of a unified strike against Earth itself. They believe if they can destroy your homeworld before you can deploy more ships like yours. Mendoza felt the ship respond to her surge of emotion, probability fields fluctuating around them. She forced herself to remain calm. Thank you for this information, Merchant Prince. Your warning will not be forgotten. As for your offer, she considered carefully. The Yalari trade network spanned thousands of systems. Such an alliance would give humanity unprecedented economic reach. We accept. Earth welcomes the Yalari as friends and partners. Vexel's relief was visible even through the hologram. As the communication ended, Mendoza turned to her crew. Thoughts? Dr. Elena Volkov, the ship's physicist and probability specialist, spoke first. If the Confederation is mobilizing, they've fundamentally misunderstood what we are. They still think in terms of conventional warfare. Should we warn Earth? Jinwei asked. Mendoza shook her head. Earth is already aware. Remember, we're all connected through the quantum network. What we know, they know. The question is how to respond. Her neural link suddenly flared with incoming data. Similar reports were arriving from the other 3 quantum ships. The Confederation wasn't just planning an attack. They were coordinating the largest military operation in galactic history. They're terrified, observed Navigation Officer Marcus Hill. They've seen what one of our ships can do, and they're throwing everything they have at the problem. Can't blame them, Nkosi added. From their perspective, we're an existential threat. Mendoza stood, decision crystallizing. Set course for the Confederation capital. Maximum probability drive. Captain. Jinwei's surprise was evident. If they want to see what we're truly capable of, let's show them. But on our terms, not theirs. The Nemesis folded space around itself, ceasing to exist in one location and simultaneously beginning to exist in another. To outside observers, it simply vanished. They materialized in the heart of Confederation space, directly above the capital world of Central Prime. Immediately, defense platforms powered up, targeting systems locked onto the human vessel. Hundreds of ships scrambled from orbital stations. Mendoza broadcast on all channels. "This is Captain Sarah Mendoza of the Earth vessel Nemesis. I come with a message for the Confederation Assembly. You have 1 hour to convene an emergency session. What I have to say will determine the fate of every species in this alliance." The response was chaos. Some ships opened fire, others fled, while planetary defense systems activated ancient protocols designed for extinction-level threats. None of it mattered. The Nemesis existed partially outside conventional spacetime. Energy weapons passed through it harmlessly. Missiles lost target lock and drifted aimlessly. Graviton beams bent around the ship like water around a stone. For exactly 1 hour, the Nemesis remained motionless, an immovable object that defied every attempt at destruction or analysis. Then, as promised, Mendoza appeared before the hastily assembled Confederation leadership, not via hologram, but somehow physically present in their sealed chamber despite never leaving her ship. "Representatives of the Confederation," she began, her voice carrying clearly despite the shocked silence, "you have been gathering forces to attack Earth. This action would be unwise." Ambassador Xilara, the same Thrivian who had once mocked humanity, found her voice. "You cannot threaten the combined might of 47 species. Even your technology has limits." Mendoza smiled sadly. "You misunderstand. This isn't a threat. It's an intervention. Earth has no desire to rule the galaxy. We seek only to prevent the strong from preying upon the weak." She gestured, and reality rippled. Every weapon in the chamber, ceremonial blades, hidden energy pistols, even the guard's armor, transformed into flowers of impossible colors. "We could end your civilization with a thought," Mendoza continued conversationally. "Instead, we offer you a choice. Abandon your plans for war. Embrace cooperation. Help us build a galaxy where all species can thrive." "And if we refuse?" demanded the Krell representative, still smarting from their earlier humiliation. "Then we will make war impossible for you." Mendoza's expression hardened. "Your weapons will fail. Your ships will lose the ability to navigate. Your very thoughts of violence will slip away like morning mist. We will not destroy you. We will simply remove your capacity for destruction." The implications hung heavy in the air. Not conquest, but something far more terrifying: the complete neutralization of their ability to wage war. As Mendoza faded from the chamber, returning to her ship through means that defied understanding, she left behind a simple data crystal. The technical specifications for basic quantum shielding, her disembodied voice explained. "Enough to protect your worlds from cosmic disasters and rogue actors. Consider it a gesture of good faith. Earth stands ready to share more, should you choose the path of peace." The Confederation Assembly faced a choice that wasn't really a choice at all. They could embrace humanity's vision of galactic cooperation, or watch helplessly as their military power evaporated through technologies they couldn't comprehend. The age of conquest was ending. The age of enforced peace had begun. The breaking point. The Helix Nebula blazed with colors no organic eye could perceive, a cosmic storm of radiation and gravitational anomalies that had claimed countless ships over millennia. It was here, in this graveyard of ambitions, that the Confederation chose to make their final stand. High Admiral Zarthax of the combined fleet stood aboard his command dreadnought, the Infinite Resolve, studying tactical displays that showed the largest armada ever assembled. Over 12,000 vessels from every Confederation member species, supported by mercenary fleets, independent warlords, and even ancient automated defense platforms reactivated from forgotten wars. "All units report ready," his tactical officer announced. "Interdiction fields are active. Probability dampeners engage. Quantum scramblers at full power." Zarthax nodded grimly. They had spent 6 months preparing this trap, developing countermeasures based on every scrap of data about human technology. The Helix Nebula's natural properties would amplify their efforts, creating a dead zone where even the mysterious human ships would be forced to operate within normal physics. Or so they hoped. Energy spike detected. Sensors called out. Something's emerging from quantum foam. The nemesis appeared, darker than the void between stars, its impossible geometry causing headaches among those who stared too long. 3 similar vessels materialized around it: the Arbiter, the Revelation, and the Prometheus. Humanity's entire quantum fleet gathered in one place. Now, Zarthax roared, "Activate everything." Space itself seemed to scream as thousands of ships unleashed their prepared weapons. Exotic particles flooded the region. Dimensional anchors attempted to lock the human vessels in normal space. Probability suppressors fought to collapse their quantum fields. For a moment, just a heartbeat, it seemed to work. The human ships flickered, their outlines becoming more solid, more real. Then Captain Mendoza spoke across all channels. "Impressive. You've actually managed to interfere with our systems. Congratulations." Zarthax felt hope surge. They had done it. They had found a weakness. "Unfortunately," Mendoza continued, her voice carrying the hint of regret, "you've forced us to reveal capabilities we had hoped to keep in reserve." The 4 human ships began to pulse with an inner light that hurt to perceive. Space-time itself warped around them, creating visible distortions that spread like ripples in a pond. "What you call quantum technology," Mendoza explained as reality began to unravel, "is merely our training mode. Let us show you what these ships truly are." The nemesis expanded, not grew, but expanded, its existence spreading across multiple dimensions simultaneously. It became a shadow that covered star systems, a presence that existed everywhere and nowhere. The other 3 ships underwent similar transformations, their true nature finally revealed. They weren't ships at all. They were focal points, places where human consciousness had learned to directly interface with the fundamental fabric of reality itself. The Confederation fleet's weapons didn't just fail. They ceased to have ever existed. Shields designed to withstand supernova-level forces simply forgot their purpose. Navigation computers reset to factory defaults. Life support systems began playing ancient Earth music. But the true demonstration was yet to come. Through their neural links, the human crews reached into the quantum foam and began to create. Where nothing had existed, new structures blossomed into being. Orbital habitats, garden worlds, entire solar systems appearing from pure thought and will. "This is what we are," Mendoza's voice echoed through every mind in the fleet. "Not conquerors, not destroyers, gardeners of reality itself. We tried to show you gently, but you chose to see only threats where we offered gifts." Admiral Zarthax watched helplessly as his mighty dreadnought transformed into a hospital ship, weapons replaced with medical facilities, armor converted to hydroponic gardens. Across the fleet, similar changes occurred. Warships became research vessels, carriers transformed into universities, destroyers reshaped into mobile disaster relief platforms. The message was clear. Humanity could reshape reality at will, but chose to create rather than destroy. Surrender signals flooded every channel, not just from the fleet, but from across the galaxy as monitoring stations relayed what was happening. Species that had resisted for months capitulated instantly. Others begged for mercy they now realized they had already received. Within hours, delegations from every major power requested audiences with Earth's representatives. The Krell Empire offered unconditional surrender. The Thrivian Dominion pledged eternal alliance. Even ancient species that had observed from afar for eons emerged to establish relations. 3 days later, in the Grand Assembly Hall of Central Prime, humanity formally announced the establishment of the Human Defense Initiative, not a government or empire, but a guarantee of protection for all peaceful species. "We came to the stars seeking friends," Ambassador Chen addressed the gathered representatives. "Instead, we found a galaxy ruled by fear and force. That ends today. Any species that embraces peace will find in humanity an unshakable ally." Any that choose aggression will find their ability to harm others removed. He paused, letting his words sink in. The choice, as always, is yours. In the months that followed, the galaxy transformed. Border disputes vanished as the mere presence of human observers made violence impossible. Pirates found their weapons turning to dust, their ships gently redirected to legitimate trade routes. Ancient feuds dissolved as the participants forgot why they were fighting. Some called it the Pax Humana, the human peace. Others whispered of benevolent gods walking among them. The truth, as always, was more complex. Humanity had not conquered the galaxy. They had transcended the very concept of conquest, showing others a path beyond the cycle of violence that had defined civilization since its dawn. In her private quarters aboard the Nemesis, Sarah Mendoza removed her neural interface and allowed herself a moment of purely human exhaustion. The burden of godlike power weighed heavily, even as she celebrated their success. Was it worth it? Elena Volkov asked, sharing a cup of synthetic coffee. Mendoza looked out at the stars, at the countless worlds now living in unprecedented peace. Ask me in 1,000 years, she replied, when we see what they build with the chance we've given them. The galaxy had entered a new age, not through conquest or submission, but through the forced realization that there were better ways to exist. The human warships, so terrifying that enemies chose surrender over battle, had become symbols of hope rather than fear. And in the depths of space, 4 ships that were more than ships continued their endless patrol, ensuring that peace, once established, would endure for generations to come. The war to end all wars was over. The age of creation had begun.